Hey guys, it's your buddy Caden. Today's video is gonna be a little bit different. Today I am interviewing my brother DJ. He is in the Air Force and he has been in for 4 years now. So we're gonna hear from him, hear his stories, what he likes about it, what goes into being in the Air Force, and just what it's all about for someone that's looking to get into the military. So let's hear it from him.
Hello, I'm Senior Airman Jones. I'm currently serving in the United States Air Force. The reason I joined the Air Force is for many reasons. I have two parents that are in the Navy, and they told me not to join the Navy. They told me to join the Air Force. And I did some research, and it turns out that it did happen to be the best branch to join. One of the very few things that I noticed was that the Air Force is the only branch with its own community college. I don't know if anyone knew that or not, but that's just one of the things. And I like the lifestyle of the Air Force, which is also what I heard was best as well. And the Air Force had a job that was for me, and I'm currently doing that job. I currently work as a medical technician. I've had some experience with working as a nurse, where I was able to take my own patients and pretty much take care of them on my own. But as of right now, I'm working in pediatrics as a medical technician. And there I draw labs, I put IVs into kids, even when they're kicking and screaming at me. I screen them and do their vitals, the whole 9 yards, really, as of right now. Previously to pediatrics, I worked in med surge, which is the complete opposite, where I worked with old people and I took care of them for the most part. My favorite things about Honor Guard, the biggest thing that I learned from it is I really started to understand my potential and how far I could push myself. Because I got to a point when I was in Honor Guard where I had to reach deep inside of myself to really get to where I wanted to be. And I didn't know if I was capable of that or not. And I found that out through Honor Guard, and I learned a lot of things about the Air Force. I learned about, my dress and appearance and how I present myself as an airman. And yeah, um, it's a big melting pot, really, when you join the Air Force. I think it's more so when you join the military in general, because when you join the military, you meet so many different people around the world. Like, if I stayed in Georgia, I don't think I would have ever met as many people as I've met from the Midwest of the US or even overseas, people who came from the Philippines or even Africa. You meet so many different people, and it's really just a big culture shock. Some of the discipline that goes into the military is pertaining to doing your job, because normally when you work on a civilian sector or you just have a normal job, you master that job and you get to a point where you're pretty good and it kind of stables itself out. But the military is constantly changing, innovating, and evolving every day. So you could be in 1 year, 10 years, or even 25. You're still going to be learning things about your job and about the Air Force. But we do have that strict discipline of being teachable and being able to learn things. Because if you aren't really able to learn on the fly and be flexible, then you're not really going to last long in the Air Force. Well, really, the military in general, which is one of the strictest demands of the Air Force and of the military, is that you constantly have to evolve and adapt to situations, and you have to be able to take them at face value. My thoughts on being in the military currently with the war, it doesn't really change what I thought about the military. I knew what I signed up for. Um, there's been wars pretty much in every generation in the military, so nothing has really changed as far as that, in my opinion. The first week of basic training was a culture shock because I wasn't used to. I've had stress in my life, but I wasn't used to the go, 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 do this now, 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 now. Why aren't you doing this right now? And I had to adjust to that environment, of course, which naturally I believe everyone does. Um, and I also had to adjust to really just the environment that I was around because I, I was more so used to a more calm environment and not getting screamed at for the entire day. But I mean, it was fun. It was fun. It took me to the second week to fully adjust to the stress. Well, you have week 0 through week 6 or 7, but and week 0 being the first week. I think by week 1, I was adjusted to the lifestyle and adjusted to the constant demand of my surroundings.
And what was the most difficult?
I think the hardest part to deal with in basic training was being one team because I've always been used to, just doing things on my own, processing things by myself and handling things, by myself. But, when you're there with 47 other people and you have to work together as a unit to accomplish certain missions or to accomplish certain goals, it does make you have to sacrifice certain things in order to make your situations work. Basic training compared to the operational Air Force is pretty different because in basic training, they're pretty much teaching you, well, it's basic training for the military. So they're pretty much laying down the foundation of the things you'll need and throughout your career. And when you are operational Air Force, you actually apply those things during your job. For instance, they teach you how to wear your uniform, how to maintain it, and how to make it, make yourself presentable. And when you get to the operational Air Force, most likely you're going to wear your uniform throughout the entirety of the shifts you work and the job you work. And if you look like trash, then you just look like trash. And so that's what I say about that. Scoring high as possible in the ASVAB could be the difference of you getting a job that you don't want and you getting a job that you do want. Now, if you score a 72 on the ASVAB, you can pretty much get most jobs in the Air Force. But when you start to score under 60, under 60 range, your jobs start to become pretty limited. So it is you might want to study pretty hard for the ASVAB before you go in. It'd do you some good, especially if you have a particular job in mind that you want. You the chances are you'll get it if you do score pretty high on the ASVAB. I think the military taught me that there's always a way. Like if there's a situation where you feel like you can't really solve or work through, the military are gonna make you work through it, no matter what it is. And I feel like that's a great skill to have because it teaches you resiliency. And no matter how hard your situation gets, you can always bounce back with a skill like that. My proudest moment in the Air Force was when I was an honor guard and I did a detail. And it was for a retired colonel. And it was 7 of us. You have your firing party, the people who fold the flag, and the people who shoot the rifles, and your person who plays taps and things of that nature. Well, we coordinated with the person who was hosting the funeral. We coordinated a flyover during the detail. So as taps finished playing, as the last note played, you can hear I think it was an A-15 flying past us. And once taps ended, the sound of the A-15 was just beautiful going over us as we honored the fallen retired colonel. What I recommend for 17 and 18-year-olds, if you're looking or you graduated high school and you're looking for a career, what to do, most people's options are military, college, or just getting a standard job. And most people think that military is a last resort of, I didn't really have anything else to do, so I joined the military. However, if you go in with a plan, you can definitely get a good return on investment on your life, really. And I believe it should be looked at as a first option because when you do college and you graduate, it's not necessarily guaranteed that you're going to be able to just jump right into that job that you want because the market is competitive now. And now jobs are really looking for experience on top of the degree. Having a degree is really just getting a foot in the door because pretty much everybody's going to have that same degree and you need something to separate you. And I believe going to the military can help you with that because you can go to school in the military, get your degree in what you want to get your degree in. They give you $4,500 a year in tuition assistance to do whatever classes you want. You also are granted a GI Bill if you also want to continue college and do something more extensive than that. And I believe it's worth it because even when you are in your job, not only is there a plethora of jobs you can choose from, but when you're in your job, you can get your certification. You don't have to pay for that. You can get your specialties in certain jobs. You don't have to pay for that. And when you get out of the military, you'll still have those certifications. You'll still have those degrees and the education that you received. And you'll have the training and the experience you received while you were in the military, which will also separate you for when you get out of the military. If you want to pursue that same career or even a different career, your military experience is going to be a little different than most people because most people who had that job didn't also have the stress of doing multiple additional duties. They didn't have the stress of testing to go the next rank, going up for boards and interviewing in front of high-ranking people. They didn't have to deal with those sort of stressors on top of their job. And so when you have that experience from the Air Force and or the military, you are truly becoming cream of the crop. And even after the military, you're still taken care of as far as your retirement and if you have disability and things of that nature. You still have your VA loan that you can use. You are pretty taken care of. And if you are someone who values stability, the military is the way to go. All in all, I would say consider the military when whether you're 17, 18, even if you're 35 or 30, doesn't matter. Wherever you are in your life, as long as you're not past the age of 40, really consider the military because you may find yourself in the most stable era of your life. I know that I'm pretty stable in my life as of right now, and I'm also having fun. You, someone who likes to travel, move around, you get bored easily in your life, the military will keep you busy. So consider the military 100%. And if you don't like it, do your four and let it be.
Once again, this is my brother, Airman Jones. I want to thank him for his time. And I know, like I said in the beginning, this was a bit of a different video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will be back next week at 6 o'clock with another vlog.